What is something shady going on in your neighborhood? My neighbors erected a massive flagpole and each day they put a new flag up there. I can't for the life of me figure out why, but they're either bored or it's for nefarious purposes that I'm not perceptive enough to figure out. Also, two kangaroos had a fight on my road last week. Wondering if they're somehow involved in the flag shenanigans. Every post by Australians. Stupid foreigners thinking we ride kangaroos. Also every post by Australians. Kangaroo street fights. Some kids are riding ATVs and dirt bikes in little packs on the streets. They're also riding in protected areas where off-roading is prohibited. The other day someone ran over a couple of people in one of these areas and killed them. Investigation is ongoing. Is this Baltimore or Philly by any chance? Only places I've seen groups of people on dirt bikes and ATVs riding down streets in packs. I have seen the packs street riding in Philly when visiting, but no, this is the suburbs of a mid-sized city in the south. Louisville. House is rented out but nobody lives there. Once a month or so two really nice German sports cars with privacy tinting pull into the garage for a couple of hours and then leave. Obviously it's a shack house. Rich guy brings his not wife there, does sex and leaves. This is the correct answer. We had one in our neighborhood, and it was the worst kept secret among the neighboring homes. Everyone knew a local rich dude took his mistress there. We, kids, actually use the backyard to hang out in, since 99% of the time the house was empty. Actually got in one time, because the back door was left open. The only room that was even remotely decorated was the bedroom. Big jacuzzi in the en-suite bathroom too. Total shack house. So this all happened recently. Neighbor A and neighbor B live beside each other. Neighbor A plays music too loud one night, so neighbor B threw a brick through their window. Neighbor A then comes to the only logical conclusion out there and gets 10 of his friends together, goes to the local petrol station with a wheelie bin and fills it full of petrol. Proceeds to break the living room window, insert the bin full of petrol into said living room, and then throw a petrol bomb in to light it. Me and the lads were staging a poker night in my house across the street and watched it all go down. Got it on video mayhaps? No, and even if I did I wouldn't be putting it on here. These fuckers are crazy and the house burning ones are involved in organized crime. You should probably move. You're not wrong, but do you really think I would be living here if I had a choice? Every night, at exactly 0003, a badger runs across the garden walk opposite my house. Every damn time. Put food in his path each night and gain his trust. Eventually he will bring other badgers, and you will slowly gain their trust too. In time you will have an army of badgers loyal only to you. Then when one of them fights with exceptional bravery, he can award it the Badger of Honor. We don't need no stinkin' badger badges. I'm pretty sure the owner of a takeaway near our house is selling drugs. The place has only a handful of customers every night and it should have gone out of business a long time ago. Alas, it's still open and all sort of shady people gather in front of it as closing time approaches. The other shady thing happened a few months ago. One night, a neighbor was rushed at the hospital. He is 70 or 75 years old and very overweight. Everybody, his family included, thought he had a heart attack. It turned out he tried to become a sugar daddy for a 25-year-old woman, but was too cheap and didn't give enough money, so he got his ass beaten up by some of her friends. How did you find out what really happened to your neighbor? Also, why try and become a sugar daddy if you're too cheap to pale mayo? My parents' house is in one of the nicest, safest, and most expensive boroughs in London where 3 bedrooms easily sell for £1 million. One of the 1.5 million houses caught on fire recently because it was being used to grow weed, and the firefighters couldn't get in because the whole place was booby-trapped. That's idyllic London borough life for you. Booby-trapped how? Tripwire and barbed wire, mostly, I believe. Stuff that'd really put off burglars and squatters if they realized the house didn't have much foot traffic, but I don't know the exact details. They sprayed water on the outside and on the adjacent buildings to stop it spreading, and once they got in they stopped it pretty quickly. You can probably guess that the smell was rather strong. I'm fairly certain that the church down the street is actually a cult. I've never seen a Christian ceremony where they march down the street chanting every month like they do. Also, they are very inconsiderate, not giving those in the neighborhood any warning that they are going to be doing this. It has caused me to be late for work before, and I know they aren't pulling any permits to have their little parades. Call the cops next time. They don't have the right to shut down a street like that without a permit. By the time the cops get there, they'd be done. They last all of maybe 15 minutes, and the cops in this city take forever to get anywhere. Just lay on the horn until they move. And that's how you become the next sacrifice. That would be the time my street was blocked off by police cars. A nice little policewoman asked me where I lived, and when I told her, she said, "Okay, follow me, but stay behind me and stay low." She was wearing a bulletproof vest. We got halfway there when the SWAT commander stopped us and asked where she was taking me. She told him, and he paused to assess the situation and decided I can't allow it. It's too close. That's when I noticed there was a team of about 6 SWAT guys in full gear with what looked like MP5s huddled behind an armored Humvee with a turret on top. My girlfriend and I ended up hanging out at the local bar for about 4 hours until the situation was resolved and we were allowed to go home. Cliffhanger ending. What happened? The house has been known to be a problem. It's owned by an older woman that lives down the block, but her son lives there. Shady people come and go at odd hours looking very strung out. A neighbor heard gunshots from the house at around noon that day, and a man ran out the back with an AR-15 chasing some kids. They ran into some construction workers doing some utility work in the alley who called 911. Word is that they stole the workers' phones and pistol whipped them. The guy went back into the house, and the police showed up. When I was there, they were on the bullhorn telling him they just want to know he's okay. Please do the right thing and come out. We just want to make sure everyone is okay. Around 7 to 8 PM, they changed tones to "We are coming in. Any resulting damage to yours or the neighbor's properties will be your responsibility." He quickly gave up and came out without incident. Garden competition, fighting, love triangles, stalking, sabotage, accusations, escalation, murder, speculation, trials, convictions, hydrangeas. I'd watch this show. I believe it was called Desperate Housewives. Drug dealers. A lot of them. I remember a very polite drug dealer who lived near me years ago. I waved as I drove by his corner one time, and that started it. Every time he saw me / recognized the car, he'd get a goofy smile and a wave. Always liked that guy. He was definitely a dealer, because many times I'd seen people give him cash and then he'd go to his stash behind a dumpster. I live in a different area now after my next door neighbor was shot and killed after someone kicked in their front door. Now the shadiest thing that happens is a mysterious dog craps in my yard. I too had polite drug dealers down the street. They are always quiet there. Guests never block the street. They're friendly if we are both out at the same time, etc. We have many neighbors who don't seem to be engaging in anything particularly illegal, who could learn a thing or 5 about living politely from our friendly neighborhood dealers. Sometimes my friend comes over to my house and says stuff like, "You know there are people smoking crack down there," or "I think your neighbors are drug dealers." And I'm like, so? Seriously? They are some of the best neighbors we have. I live in a very suburban, American dream 1950s kind of neighborhood, and the sketchiest thing that goes down there is when my neighbor doesn't say hi back. Dude, I have a couple neighbors that don't wave or say hi, and we live in the Midwest and those are the goddamn rules. Nobody says anything to anyone here in Silicon Valley. It's an incredibly weird self-serving place to live. A lot of very bright people who have absolutely no social skills. Several neighbors have shady chickens. Those little criminal bastards sometimes even come in my yard and eat my bugs and litter their eggs around. You see litter, I see free eggs. Oh, believe me, we eat every egg that Penelope leaves us. Yes, that's one of the chickens' name. Yesterday morning around 6 AM I woke up to my neighbor screaming on their front lawn. My neighbor was out there throwing shit at her husband while her friend videotaped it all from the front door. I don't know what happened, but usually people don't get thrown out of their house at 6 AM for no reason. My parents live in a conservative neighborhood full of elderly people who have lived there for decades. One of the neighbors retired to Florida and a biker gang bought the house and used it as a meeting place. My parents think it's hilarious, but the other neighbors are horrified. My neighbor's kid is home from college. Him and his buddies are up late hanging out and shooting the shit. Sometimes, when I have the windows open, I can smell it. I think those kids might be doing the marijuanas. They haven't even offered me any. I have a toddler and a baby. They go to bed by like 8. I used to be cool, I swear. Okay, not very cool, but I won't like lip all over your bowl or pretend like I'm still 19 or dab or something horrible. Please believe me, it's rude, is all I'm saying. Phantasma here, hope you enjoyed, don't forget to sub for more.